Got a couple things to put up today. One's a battery charger that's got a simple problem, and the other one is a vintage power bar from Hammond's. Not again. This is going to be a nice, easy peasy video. My little battery charger that I've had for, I don't know how many years I've had this, but this one here, the spring is broken on it, I think. So we got to open it up and see where it broke and fix it. That's the plan anyway, to fix it, so that I can charge 4 batteries. I was looking for my small screwdriver. I'm curious as to whether it just fell off or whether it broke. So I guess we'll find out pretty quick. This charger has been pretty reliable. I've used it like hundreds of times. I've got it stuck up to the wall with double-sided tape. So I had to take off the double-sided tape and take out half the paper on the drywall in the process to get it down. It did fall down once, so maybe that's where it got damaged. But anyway, we'll see what's gone wrong. Whether the spring has popped off or whether something broke. I like this charger because I can charge NiCad, nickel metal hydride, and lithium. So it's kind of a universal charger that will charge pretty much everything that I throw at it. And silly me, you know, I had oh, there's what's happened. A little plastic tab here that this clips onto is broken off. Alright, so I guess we'll just have to glue this up, or maybe even attach it to something else. Pretty simple. It's just a spring, right? This is what holds this up for the 4 different, and it used to just sit there, but as you can see, that plastic is broken, so maybe I'll just put a screw in. I might be able just to put a small screw in here and just screw it down. That way it will hold it in place. I've just had 2 failures of data to write to this memory card. It's a Samsung card, but it's a micro SD card, but it's in a micro SD adapter, and well, we know how good those have been. They've been absolute shit memory card adapters, because the 256 gig did I say SanDisk? I think it said Lexar, maybe Lexar memory card adapter. The reason that is there is because the 256 gig Lexar micro SD card doesn't work with the adapter that came with it, but it works fine in my Samsung adapter. So I kind of swapped adapters around, and this one's been working up until now. I just pulled the micro SD card out and reseated it, and I haven't got the error, so maybe that's all it needed. Anyway, I'm going to use a small screwdriver to drill a small pilot hole just by spinning it around here. This is to give the screw something to bite into. So I'll put one small hole, and I might have to make it a little bit larger. This is a 0.7 millimeter that I'm doing. Okay, so I just drilled a small hole like that, and I've got this small screw that I'm going to use, and I might have to enlarge that hole just a little bit. So now, oh, that was a 0.9 that I did. So the next size up will be I think this is a 1 millimeter. We'll see if this one's going to be a good size. I could probably use one of these screws that holds the back on, actually, because it's a self-tapper, but it's a little longer. But I'll just go to a little bit larger hole here. And that should be enough to thread this screw into, hopefully. There we go. That's going to hold that. Now that will fix the spring that's been loose. Hopefully that will hold it. And hopefully this will keep this thing working for another few years. So as I used to have, I had a 2-cell version, and I sold it to a friend, and I had a 6-cell charger that I figured I would never use. I sold that to another friend, Because I figured, well, what do I use these AT650s for? Flashlights. So I figured I would never need to have to charge more than 4. And sometimes I do have to charge 4. You can see the one that I just did here. I just put the screw just at the surface here, but it's not going to make contact with anything, so there's no issues as far as causing a fire or anything. Something else I figured I'd show you while I'm at it. I got this at a yard sale, and this is a Hammond power bar. It even says right on there, power bar. It's Hammond, made in Canada. This is when they knew how to make power bars. Now, guaranteed this does not have any surge suppression. This is just a power bar. I've been told that the outlets need to be replaced on it. I can see that they are because there's a few of them that are broken. So I got it for free. Let's take this thing apart. They've got it taped off saying don't use this one because it doesn't work. So let's take this apart and we'll see what it needs to do to get this thing working properly. 4 new outlets more than likely is all I need. But real outlets, I mean, they're loose too. Loose. I gotta figure out how to open this thing up. There's some screws in the side here. It looks like it snaps together. But let's pull the screws first. And maybe a trip to Home Repo or one of those other places will be in order to... Oh, I guess that doesn't work. Duh, it's made in Canada. It's not going to use Phillips screws. Hell no, this is going to use real screws. Robertson. Just got to get the right size. Number one Robbie, a green Robbie for this one. A green Robbie and an orange bit, or an orange driver. Okay, we're going to pop this thing apart and see how this thing's constructed and how bad or how good it is inside. I would imagine it's probably pretty good, but we'll see. Maybe there's lots of bare wires inside here. It doesn't have a switch. It's always on. That could be a good or a bad thing. But definitely it's a heavy-duty power bar that you could plug some pretty heavy-duty equipment into. It's a this is a 314 power cable. So that'll handle 15 amps, no problem. Now, how does this thing come apart? I've got the screws out. Ah, that's how it's going to come apart. Snaps open. Ow, shit. Censor myself here. That hurt. How's this thing come apart? I guess it just snaps out. Not like that. Okay. That's how. There we go. There we go. Interesting. Okay, so this is how they've done this. It's just got 4 regular outlets. Looks like they've just bent the or cut off the ground tabs that would mount into an outlet box. But they're just regular 4 CSA plugs. They're just using the quick connect here. They've actually taken the ground wires and actually put the ground wires in place, but as you can see, bare wires all about here. And if I just put a screwdriver in here, these will all pop apart. So pretty simple to replace these. Just have to get a small enough screwdriver to release the metal bars. Push to release wire. I'm pushing it. It's not releasing. Try a skinnier blade. Oh, come on. Ideally, this would be done with, using the screw terminals, and as opposed to these quick connect. But I guess if that was good enough for them to get a certification. Oh, there we go. That one's out. So I guess it's off to the store. I'm going to pick up 4 new outlets, and we are going to rebuild this classic Canadian power bar. Because they don't make them like this anymore, folks. If you see what the new ones look like inside, you'll laugh. Okay, now these are just held in place by 4 screws. This time it's Phillips screws. Do you think, should I replace them with white plugs or brown? Alright, off to the store to pick up some new outlets, and we'll update this classic unit and make it new again. I got some new plugs. I did not go to the big box store, but I tell you one thing, the big box store, which is Rona and Home Depot, they have garbage plugs that are made in China, and the ones I got are Eton, and they are made in USA, right here, USA. So these are, I bought the same color because they were cheap, because these were 99 cents. If I wanted to get an ivory plug or a white plug, well, I think an ivory plug was the same price, they were 99 cents. But if I wanted a white plug, well, that was $2.99. So I figured, well, what's the difference between the plugs? The color. They all had the same back, they had the blue back, but the white ones were $2.99, and the ivory and the brown were 99 cents. So I got 4 brown ones. You can see they're made in USA. So we can break these off. These got little score lines on here, so I can break these off so that they will fit. And I'm going to do that, and we'll get these mounted. And I haven't decided whether I'm going to use a wire or whether I'm going to use the quick connect. But let's get these mounted. These actually feature a 3-way screw, so I can put a Phillips screwdriver on here and use a Phillips screw, or I can use a slotted screw, or I can use a Robertson. 3-way screws. That's kind of neat. There's the screw head. So a slotted screwdriver will work. A number 2 Phillips will work just fine, as will a number 1 Robertson. Neat, huh? We break the tabs off at the score lines. Just like that, and then I can just bend this one down. Just bend the tabs over so that we have the clearance to put them in. Alright, now the outlets are ready to mount again. I can put them in and screw them down with the screws that hold the outlets in place. ones first. Take the ground wires off these items, get them out of the way. The old ones out of here. Reconnect the ground wires first. Just reconnect them and tighten them down. Should point out that on this unit you would not want to remove the ground prong off of the main plug, because being a metal chassis and all the grounds being connected to it, if there was a fault and the ground prong was removed, this entire unit would become energized. Now I have a choice to make whether I'm going to wire this unit using the same type of connections that were done before, which was using the jumper wires, or whether I'm going to actually put wires in across here. And I think I'm likely just to do it the way it was before, just because it maintains separation. When you've got wires along here, there's wires that are awful close to the side, and I don't want to risk anything touching. So I think that's probably why they did it the way they did it, was they took the screws out. I could probably drive them all the way down, and it would do the same thing just to give me enough clearance. But I'm pretty sure that's probably the reason they did it the way they did with the jumpers, was just because it gave a little more clearance, because this is awful close to the side, and even though it's grounded, it's just going to trip the breaker if it were to short out. But I'm pretty sure that's probably why at the time when these were manufactured they did them the way they did. It's, yeah, first of all, it's a time saving for sure, but I think that probably the other reason they did it was because it just provided a little bit better clearance, because it's not so close to the side cover where you're going to have an energized conductor. So let me just put all these screws in, and then we'll put the jumpers back in place. I'm going to do this the same way it originally was, just using the quick connect, just because it's going to give me a little bit more separation. So we push these wires down, all the way down. Hot side obviously on the copper sided, and the neutral on the silver sided. There's the first one, and then I just have these other jumpers to put in to go from one outlet to the next. Just push these in place. And for people that are concerned about the current, that's not an issue. These are certified to draw 15 amps on these quick connects, so not an issue. Not that you're going to be drawing 15 amps through here. The circuit breaker will trip at 15. But it certainly could, and the conductor is certainly heavy enough to draw a total of 15 amps, 14 gauge. So basically a $4 investment gets this old classic power bar back to new status. Restores all the safety it had when it was new, because the old outlets were pretty loose. That's why one of them was taped off when I got it, and the person that had it at their garage sale said that the outlets didn't work. They had them taped off because the plugs fell out of them, they were so loose. So nice and tight now. We've got plenty of clearance here between our ground and our neutral. Don't have to worry about any short circuits here. Now to put this back together, that's the trick. I guess it just snaps together like this. Supposed to snap together. It should just pop in, just like this. There we go. There, and then the other screws that go into the end here to hold it down. And then I can try it out and see if it works, which I'm fairly confident that there won't be any issues with this one. From what I understand, they still actually sell power bars of this design too, and they're quite expensive. Like $100 expensive to buy a new one with proper outlets in them. The El Cheapo ones that are made out of plastic, like the old Triplite ones, I wouldn't trust those things as far as I could throw them. Like, they're fine for your little low current devices, but anything you're serious about, you want a good solid connection, you can't beat these ones. Alright, done. Power this thing up and we'll make sure it works. Now remember, they tell you don't plug space heaters into power bars. Well, I think it's okay on this one. Power bar like this, a space heater, no problem. It's got a good solid cord, so no issues on something like that. I still wouldn't recommend it, but I would certainly feel a lot more confident plugging a high power device such as a heater or something that draws a lot of power into a power strip like this than, say, one of the plastic ones. If you've seen the inside of the plastic ones, I did a teardown on one not long ago. We can look that one up. It was a little 4 strip, I think it was a 4 strip power bar, and it was basically, it was just 2 strips that went down the side, molded into plastic, and the plugs inserted in. These had little clips on them in the plastic. It just pathetic units like this, you know. This was given to me as well. I don't know if it works, but units like this is just a little short cord, or ones like this, right? Yeah, you're not going to draw any type of serious power through here. I don't even know what these are rated. What are they rated? 1200 watts. It says, well, it says 15 amps, 1875 watts. I don't think I would trust that for that. I don't know what this one's rated at, but well, this one I can take apart. We can show you the inside of this piece of junk. I had one of these break down at work. Customer plugged his vacuum cleaner. It was in his I'd installed it actually for his modem and his fiber optic ONT in his little like a little utility room, and he had a central vac there. And anyway, for whatever reason, he plugged his central vac into one of these, and well, it didn't end well. It broke down right away. But see what I mean? Look at the difference. Are you going to trust something like that to pull heavy current, such as a space heater or anything that draws any type of current? Hell no. That's a fire waiting to happen, and this is what most of them are. Any of these power strips that you buy that are this type, it says reset. Does it have a circuit breaker on it? Well, it has a couple of MOVs, big deal. Got a switch, it says reset. I don't know if it's got a circuit breaker in it or not, it might, but it's got a power switch. But I mean, this is what the majority of them are. Whether it's a 4 or a 6 or an 8, this is what you get. You get just 2 strips of copper that have the plugs, the spring terminals for your receptacle plugged into that. And if you plug something into this, this is what it does. It just the prongs just go in like that, and that's all that's holding them. Not very good. I'll trust this one any day of the week over something like that. Even for low powered stuff, right? Even if you're just powering up your computer, well, it doesn't have any surge suppression, but if you've got a UPS ahead of it, then you're fine. But for anything, I would take one of these over one of these things. These things are just a joke. Now I got to put this back together. So anyway, that's that piece of junk. And I say this is what usually you find. You go to your Home Depot and so forth, and you buy power taps. This is what you're getting sold, unless you're spending the money to get a real one that has real outlets on it like that. And as I say, these ones are a little bit more money. Anyway, guess that's about it for this one. I mean, even the plug on this one, look at how heavy duty this looks, right? 314 conductor, Superflex, CSA, with a good molded plug that says connect to grounded outlet, no kidding, compared to this one, which just looks cheap, right? Looks cheap by comparison. Yeah, no comparison. Anyway, just say you want quality, find yourself one of these made in Canada units. You will not be sorry. Thanks for watching.